Hey, welcome Stan the Energy Man. Stan Osterman here from Think Tech Studios downtown Honolulu. And we got a great show today. We're doing real high-tech stuff now. I'm starting to learn how to use Skype here in the studio. So we've got a special guest coming to you all the way from the East Coast. So we had to stay up late tonight to come and talk to you. But his name is Mike Strizki, and he is one of the super gurus of hydrogen that I know in the whole industry. He's got his fingers into about everything renewable energy and hydrogen that you can do, and he's actually doing it. I think that's what sets him apart from most of the folks that I know, is he's not just theoretical. He doesn't just talk story and talk about what could be. He actually does it. He's very hands-on, and I got to see a lot of his stuff firsthand when I was in Dallas at Earth Day. So Mike, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you coming on and being with us, and tell us a little bit about you and how you got started doing what you do, because, like I said, you're pretty much a legend in the hydrogen world.
Well, just like everything, there's occurrences in your life that change your life in a direction you would never think. I'll give you a little bit about my background. I grew up on a farm, and basically we had tractors, mini bikes, motorcycles, go-karts, snowmobiles, anything that ran on fuel. And then I fixed everything on the farm. There was no mechanic to call. If it broke, you had to weld it, jerry rig it, MacGyver it, whatever you had to do to get things going. So I learned a lot of skills, growing up doing that. And I put myself through college in, engineering, civil engineering, basically fixing cars and boats and planes and everything else that came out the way, bulldozers, tractors. But the real highlight of my life came, after college when I worked for the Department of Transportation. I was in the Office of Technology, and it was my job to take space and military technology and find transportation applications. That's when I was first introduced to fuel cells. My previous life, it was about, bigger, faster. I was a race car driver for a number of years. So, I knew the fossil fuel world very well. And a group of students during the American Tour de Sol that I was working on, one of their cars basically changed my life. So it started out as, I was going to PSE&G's headquarters to look at the Sysytems and high school team. And I took a look at the vehicle and I said, these guys are never going to make this race. Everything was installed backwards, the motor controllers, the weight distribution. They weren't going to make any of the safety items. So I said, I got two choices in life to make. One is I walk away and let them fail, and I have a great weekend. The other one was not sleep for the next 2 weeks and rebuild the car. So stupid me does what stupid me usually does, never takes the easy way out. And I didn't sleep for 2 weeks and rebuilt the entire vehicle for the Tour de Sol. So the students passed the safety test on the first chance, and no one ever does that on a brand new car. So I became one of the team members instead of a guy just moving the vehicle from place to place for them. About the third night in the race, they had a huge lightning storm, and a lightning bolt had hit the charging station, and it basically blew out the inverter that was charging the car. I had already not slept for about 2 weeks, and the students are waking me up at 1 o'clock in the morning saying that the charger was fried. And I'm saying, oh man, you got to be kidding. I said, did you try some of the other teams and see what happened? See if they have an extra one? Nobody had anything extra. So I pulled the charger apart. I saw the diode bridge was blown out. I ended up going and driving 2.5 hours back to my house in the rain, pulling the diode bridge out of an old generator that I had, ran it back to the site, put it in the inverter, and got them going with enough charge so they weren't disqualified. Well, these kids thought I walked on water, They never saw anybody do this stuff. Needless to say, they finished third place in the race, and, everybody was absolutely delighted. Well, the real lesson out of this came for me. It changed the whole course of my life and taught me, this group of students taught me that it was about doing, more with less, not more with more. And at that point, my renewable energy career was born. The year after that, we built a car called the New Jersey Genesis, which we still hold the world record today, and I've been driving for the last 16 years. here at my hydrogen house.
You said 16 years?
16 years I've been driving the car, yeah. We built the car in 2000. We did 470 miles on 1 kilogram of hydrogen. It was an all aluminum Mercury Sable. The car's up on the website under R&D projects. And I'm just in the process now of redoing the car with a student team again, taking half of the batteries out, putting ultracapacitors in, putting in 2 new fuel cells, and we're looking to do 1,000 miles on a kilogram.
Wow.
So
1,000 miles on a kilogram, that's outstanding.
We have all the technology to do it. The ultracapacitors greatly reduce the weight, plus they really help the batteries out in that they're not taking the impact of the regen, and you can absorb 100% of the regen. So the car already was 1,400 pounds for a full-size Mercury Sable, and we're going to be able to get that weight down to close to 800 pounds.
Wow.
For a full-size 5-passenger car. The original car, we couldn't have the back took up all the batteries, so we had to eliminate the back seat. But with the lithium ion now and the ultracapacitors, we're able to put the back seat back in the car again. So, we entered the car in the Tour de Sol. I've been driving that car for 16 years. It was donated to the Hydrogen House Project. The state government, basically, I did the first commercial purchase of fuel cells outside the U.S. space program for the DOT and their variable message signs in 1996. So we built a number of fuel cell projects, and then the time rolled around to the year 2000, where I got a call on my office door calling me into the front office to tell me that as of today, they're canceling all of the energy programs and that I would have to find something else to do.
Wow.
They basically said you're becoming too successful, and the gasoline tax is tied to the transportation trust fund that funds the department.
Isn't politics wonderful?
Oh yeah, politics is wonderful. They couldn't see the future in this. We are an oil refining state here in New Jersey, and oil was king. The lobbying office is directly across the street, from the State House. So I thought about it for a couple of days, and I said, this isn't what I want to do with my life. This was a turning point. I had 16 years in the department, and I signed my resignation, called them a bunch of self-serving yahoos, and left. I went to a company called Millennium Cell, where I worked on the Chrysler Natrium. I did the Peugeot fuel cell powered firefighting truck, and I did a Duffy electric fuel cell boat in the time I was there. And these were all groundbreaking projects. I spent 2 years in Paris. So teaching them how to build these things from my experience on the Tour de Sol. The third year out, I have a number of patents in hydrogen generation, but I could see Millennium Cell wasn't going anywhere. And I left to form a solar company, where at one point we installed about 3% of all the solar in the U.S. But it really wasn't my passion. So I left that company, moved on, to working for myself, and I've been there ever since. I have a whole number of patents. I have a mounting system company, and we've just developed a whole number of intellectual property that we're about to release both in the hydrogen end and in the solar end.
Well, Mike, if I hadn't seen you in action in Dallas a couple weeks ago, I'd say you're spinning a pretty tall tale, but I've seen you in action, and I know you're every bit of what you say, and you've done a whole lot. I was super impressed. I showed the viewers last week your motor scooter and your lawnmower and your Polaris, and I showed your jewel box that powered the tiny homes. I had photos of all that stuff along with Chris McWhinney's dispensing station. So I know that you're not just talking about what you do, you actually do it, and it works. And it worked flawlessly the whole weekend we were there in Dallas. So my hat's off to you. You're really one of the heroes in hydrogen, and I got to hand it to you. You're doing some great stuff.
Well, the time for experimenting is over. It's the time to do. All the technology we have right now to do this, and it's only going to get better for here. Advances in fuel cell technology using graphene and vapor deposition is greatly going to decrease the cost of fuel cells, now and in the future. Stuff like Chris's unit, where we're able to be 5 times cheaper because we use no platinum in the electrolyzer. It's stainless steel and nylon. So we're approaching an age right now where the makers, the small guys, are starting to take the market. And we have, the things like laser printers. All the major companies started in garages just like the one you see behind me. And we have more tools now, plus the internet, to do that than ever before. All the things I've learned the last 30 years, in hydrogen and fuel cells is all being implemented. The Japanese are leaps and bounds ahead of us. There are already, over 100,000 fuel cell homes in Japan. And, they're introducing fuel cell vehicles, and they have no natural resources.
Yeah, in fact, Hawaii and Japan are quite a bit alike. Are both island nations, both heavily dependent on importing energy. And we actually have some state sister city programs with some folks in Japan. Hey, Mike, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back in about 60 seconds and pick up talking to you about some of what you're doing.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen, host of Likeable Science on Think Tech Hawaii. Come join us every Friday at 2 p.m. when I interview interesting scientists about what they do, why they do it, and why we should all care about it. It's a lot of fun to see. We hear, and you can learn interesting stuff. You'll hear all kinds of fascinating science, and we know you'll have a great time. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.
Aloha, I'm Kirsten Baumgart-Turner, and I'm fortunate to be able to host Sustainable Hawaii at thinktechhawaii.com. I hope you'll join in with us every Tuesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. to see the interesting people we have to share with you their information. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Richard Emery, host of Condo Insider. More than a third of Hawaii's population live in some form of association, and our show is all about educating board members and owners about their responsibilities and obligations and providing solutions for a great association. You can watch me live on Thursdays, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. each week. Aloha.
Hey, welcome back to My Lunch Hour. Stan, the Energy Man here, talking to Mike Strizki all the way from New Jersey. And he's going to show us in a few minutes his hydrogen house. But before he goes there, we're gonna talk a little bit about some things he brought up in the first segment, like a fire truck he helped design, and it's actually a special purpose-built truck that was designed and built in Europe for a very specific reason. And I'll let Mike talk about that and some of the other things he's worked on. So, Mike, tell us about the Peugeot.
When I worked for Millennium Cell, Peugeot approached us about building. They just had the big fire in the channel. Lots of people died. There was no, they couldn't pump oxygen in, or they would be feeding the fire, So they shut the ventilation down. The fire department went in with their trucks, and there wasn't enough oxygen to run the trucks. The trucks stalled, and all the firefighters died when they ran out of oxygen. There was nothing electrically capable like a submarine that could go in miles underneath the channel in order to pull these people out. Hence, a lot of people died. And that's what started out this concept of a small firefighting vehicle called the H2O that I developed over the last 2 years. When I worked with Millennium Cell, we were using a chemical hydride. So we would mix sodium borohydride and water together, and we would evolve hydrogen. So it was what was called the hydrogen on demand system. But the advantage was it was a liquid fuel that would give you a lot of hydrogen in a very high energy density. So we built the prototype, we put the fuel cells in it. We did everything basically almost exactly what I did with the New Jersey Genesis that I had built 5 years before. We put in the same inverter manufacturers, the same fuel cell company, H-Power, provided the fuel cell for that truck. I can grab you real quickly a brochure I've got here. I can just show. Excuse me a second.
Okay.
So
that's cool stuff he's got in the background there. And he uses all of it, I'm sure.
This is what the vehicle looks like.
Okay, back it away a little bit, Mike. There you go.
Okay. So this was debuted at the Paris Auto Show. And as far as I know, they're still running it in and out of the tunnel. It's one of the emergency service equipment. They actually turned this one into a Tonka truck. It's not everything you build, they turn into a Tonka truck. So that's pretty cool. I got one of these sitting on my desk in my office.
All right.
Anyway, the truck is also used for village streets where it's too big for the big fire trucks to go. There's a video on my website under R&D projects or under the videos section on the Hydrogen House website, www.hydrogenhouseproject.org, and you can watch the videos.
Terrific. And how about the boat that you worked on too? Because we actually have an application out here that would be great for it. It's Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor uses diesel shuttle boats to get people back to the memorial and in and out. So what about what you designed? It sounds like about the same scale.
So in Southern California and Florida and a lot of places that have lakes and stuff, these Duffy electric boats are very popular. Marshall Duffield had been building electric boats since he was a little kid in Southern California, and he made these hull displacement boats that Disney uses to move people from their resort to the amusement park. So these were used in a lot of the rides and some of the attractions. That's the most popular use. But what we were able to do and document, the boat was built for the Southern California Coastal Management District as a passenger ferry. It holds 18 people, and we took half of the batteries out of the boat. We put a 4-kilowatt hydrogen fuel cell in it, and we were able to get 360 miles to a charge, where we normally only got 60 with full batteries.
Wow.
That also had a sodium borohydride system. That boat is actually sitting in my backyard waiting for me to retrofit it with my new flexible solar panels, electrolyzer, fuel cell. So we're totally revamping the boat. It's a $500,000 boat that was donated to the Hydrogen House last year from Duffy.
And what's the length on that boat again?
It's 22 feet.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, we're gonna
33 feet.
Oh, 33 feet. Okay. Well, let's we're going to take a look at your hydrogen house. You ready to give us a tour?
Sure.
Okay.
Now, how easy this is going to be? We'll start out. First of all, what you're seeing behind you is my my shop. This is at my home. This is separate from my office, but this is where all the inventing takes place. Just to give your viewers a quick idea of how fuel cell works, this is a hydrogen fuel cell that I worked on with the U.S. military, and they're now commercially available. So this is aircraft legal. So you can't take bottled water on an airplane, but you can take a hydrogen fuel cell. So safety-wise, this is when first people ask me about hydrogen safety, this is what I tell them. So you can take something like this. This is 14 AA batteries in energy, and it's a metal hydride stick, very safe. And there's a little base station you pour water in, and 4 hours later, these sticks are filled. This has a lifetime guarantee on it. That's how confident they are that the fuel cells are going to outlive, any battery that's out there.
Sounds like the ultimate rechargeable batteries.
Well, yes, because every single cycle has the same amount of energy in it.
Yeah, it doesn't deteriorate like a regular battery. Even if like regular batteries, people don't realize you just let it sit on the ground and it's going to start discharging, and as it does, you lose power. But this keeps the same level of power all the way through.
Right. So this is just gas to energy. There's no battery in this thing. So that's how the fuel cell works. It's an electrochemical reaction. And these are scalable up to megawatts. So you can start, with a cell phone sized fuel cell, and you can go all the way up to a megawatt, like the Ballard systems that are, 500 kW.
Terrific.
They're in power again. And these have nice little USB ports, and you can use these to power fans and charge camera batteries, things like that. This is a little fan, you can see.
Wow.
All right, so we'll look at some of the other things that are hydrogen powered around here. Some of the things are display, and some of the things are the real McCoy. So we'll do a little walk around here.
Hope nobody gets seasick out there, but we're gonna walk through the house here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how the lighting is, but this is the Ogen electrolyzer. Can you see that?
Yeah. Back away just a little bit, but.
Let me get on this side.
Okay.
All right. Can you
And
see
down.
it?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. So this is what generates the hydrogen for the house. This unit runs 3 months a year, and I make all my hydrogen for the whole year.
And it's about the size of a bar fridge.
It's about the size of a washing machine.
Okay.
Okay, so I can turn this on for you. Just everything here is all functional. And we can actually generate some hydrogen. So this takes the hydrogen directly, solar directly, and converts it into hydrogen gas that fills my tanks.
Okay.
And this has been here for 11 years, which is a testament to how long the equipment lasts.
Yeah, that's why people don't realize there's hardly any moving parts once you get this going, other than fans, cooling fans and pumps and things.
Right. So this is what purifies the water here for the Aqua solutions. So this unit here deionizes and does RO that provides the chemically pure water that runs the electrolyzer.
Okay.
Okay, so we're storing kilowatt hours in hydrogen using this device. So this is connected to 12 1,000-gallon propane tanks outside that get filled up seasonally.
And to what pressure?
200 pounds.
Okay.
Okay, so this is going through a startup cycle. This takes about 5 minutes for it to start.
Okay.
And then you'll see it'll start to generate pressure and it'll generate pure oxygen.
So it generates oxygen and hydrogen, and what do you do with the oxygen?
Well, if people are sick, I have them come here and breathe it.
Okay.
This is an oxygen tube here. This is where the oxygen comes out. So it could be stored and resold if you wanted to.
Yeah, I was talking to a company in California that has a miniature cryo cooler that can make liquid oxygen about the same size as your electrolyzer there.
Okay, so I'm going to try to cover some of the things in the shop here fairly quickly. All right, that just kicked on. So this is going to start to generate. Give it a couple seconds.
Well, oh yeah, we'll see. Will we see bubbles in the hose there, or what?
You won't see bubbles in the hose because there's no water in the hose. It's
Okay.
just gas coming out.
All right.
But I guess I could stick it in some water and you can see. You can see it's starting to generate now.
Okay. Oh yeah, your finger's on the screen there, a little bit in the corner on the right.
Can you see it?
Yeah, your finger's covering part of the lens there. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Why don't you pan down and let us look at the whole size of that equipment,
Okay.
all the way down to the floor and back up. There you go. So it's just a stainless steel cabinet, and
Right.
it has all the equipment inside.
Right. So it's powering up on its initial cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we'll be generating oxygen in a second. You'll hear it. I don't know if you can hear this. You hear the oxygen coming out?
No, kind of hard to hear with the other background noise.
Right. But this is the good stuff. I get to breathe the good stuff. You know, it's just like the song, you get too much, you get too high, not enough, and you're going to die.
Used to breathe it in the airplane all the time. Great for a hangover.
Yep. So this will generate all the way up to 200 pounds. I can check what's in my tanks, and the tanks are at 184, so they're pretty full.
Okay.
We're about done for the year.
Okay.
While it's still daylight out, maybe we'll take a walk out. I'll show you where the tanks look like.
Okay. Well, while you're moseying outside, let me go to a break here real quick, and we'll take care of that duty, and then we'll be right back and look at your stuff outside.
Sounds like.
Aloha, namaskar, and hello. I am Anu Hittel, and I host a show on climate change. It's called Climate Change Beyond Outrage. And in it, we go beyond outrage to look at solutions to global climate problems facing people, nations, and the world. Join me every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Hawaii Standard Time. Aloha, namaskar, and goodbye.
Aloha, how you doing? Welcome to Hibachi Talk. Gordo the Texar here. We're here every Friday from 1 o'clock till about 1:45, and we talk tech with many, many great guests. I got Andrew, the security guy, who helps me co-host, and I got Papi Chulo, who comes in once in a while to help us through the show. So please come join Hibachi Talk every Friday. Angus will be here too. So remember, like we say at the end of every show, how you doing?
Hey, welcome back to Stand Energy Man on my lunch hour this Friday. And we're talking to Mike Strizki over in New Jersey. It's still a little bit of daylight over there. It's getting to be summertime. And so he's going to step outside and show us a little bit about the outside of the house.
Okay. Yep, can't do that.
Yeah, don't unplug
So,
yet.
can you see the hydrogen tanks?
Yeah, I see the hydrogen tanks and I see the Polaris. And
Paris is over here.
yeah, I see you now.
Okay, let's see if we can flip the camera around.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Then you can frame it even better. There you go.
Okay, so this is the Polaris. This is what we, this has a 100-mile range with the fuel cell.
Okay, you got to back away a little bit. It's zoomed in pretty close.
Okay. A little better?
Yeah, pan down. Go down a little bit so we can see the. There we go. Now we're seeing the top of the driver's seat. A little bit more down. There you go. There you go. So it's pretty much in. When did you do that? Like just this year?
I built this about a year ago. This was one
Okay.
of the student projects we did.
Okay, now you got to move your thumb out of the way so we can see it. We're on a learning curve here, folks.
Yeah, I usually don't do too much of this stuff with the iPads.
Yeah, no, that's good though. So it's got a solar panel on top and some hydrogen storage, and you can zook around all over the place on sun and hydrogen.
Right. This extends the battery life because it doesn't allow the batteries to deep cycle. So
Okay.
the batteries on this, the lifetime should be somewhere in the range of about 15 years.
So you don't need to use marine type batteries, then you can use regular diesel or regular batteries.
That's what's in here is regular batteries. You can see I have the fuel cells right here. It's all covered up, but this also has a 10 kilowatt inverter on it.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to pan down to see the fuel cell. We're looking at the tank. There we go. There's the fuel cell. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the same fuel cell that we use in the lawnmower. It's a 1 kilowatt fuel cell, which is more than adequate for a range extender.
And who do you buy that from?
This one was purchased from H Power, which is now Plug Power.
Plug Power. Okay. All right. So what else you got? We saw the tanks in the background.
All right, you can see the Genesis is here.
There you go. There's your was a 16-year-old Genesis.
Yep.
Awesome. And your PV array to the right.
Yeah, there's another array. There are many arrays here. I have 7 separate arrays.
Okay.
Power fuel cell.
Oops. Sounds like we're starting to
see it?
lose you. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting out of range with the
the Wi-Fi.
yeah, with the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
If you can see up by the house, the jewel boxes, there's 4 of them up there.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you can see them barely behind the trees.
Yeah. I think we may not be able to get quite up there on the Wi-Fi,
Okay.
but
Well, show us what else you got hanging around the shop there.
okay.
On
Yeah,
the
there's always
outside.
lots hanging around the shop here. All right, so let me head back in here. So this is the a 2 kilowatt fuel cell generator. Let's see, make sure you can see it. Okay. All right, so to turn this thing on, it's pretty simple. So this is a generator and electrolyzer and fuel cell package. It has no batteries in it whatsoever.
Okay.
So in order to start it, we turn the tanks on and we press a button. Yeah, this particular unit's been my demo unit. It's all over the world. So we've shipped it by air, by land, by sea. And there's a little light on the top here. There you go, instant power.
And so reasonably, what could you power? 2 kilowatts is, I mean, I have a little 2 kilowatt generator and it's amazing how much you can actually run.
2 kilowatts will do an average home.
Okay. That's
An average home uses about 2 kilowatts worth of power.
so minus air conditioning or any kind of big compressors or things like that.
Right.
Okay.
All right, but this will run your refrigerators. This will run your lighting loads. It'll run your sub pump, and it'll run washer, microwave, stuff like that.
Okay. Hey, let's talk about your jewel box though, and let's talk about what it means to, when I was down in Dallas, we talked about, what is it, $39,000 or $40,000 to take a house and put it off the grid using your jewel box and some PV.
Yeah, it's actually less than that because the federal subsidies that are involved are going to be able to reduce that cost considerably.
Okay. So give us an idea of what's in the jewel box there.
The jewel box is a fully integrated system, so it's a hydrogen house in a box. Let me shut off the unit behind me here so we don't have the glaring light. Hang on.
Okay. I tell you what, we're going to take one quick break here while you're out moving stuff around, okay? We'll be back, wait.
Aloha, my name is Carl Campagna. I'm the host of Think Tech Hawaii's Education Movers, Shakers, and Reformers. You can see our show every Wednesday at noon at 12 p.m. on thinktechhawaii.com, as well as visiting YouTube and finding the link for the show there. The show is also aired on OC16. We look forward to seeing you on the show. We have many wonderful guests, including Joan Husted, Corey Rosenlee, where we talk about the very important issues of education for our keiki. We look forward to seeing you there. Mahalo.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on Think Tech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to seeing you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
Hey, welcome back from another quick break here with Mike Stritzke over in New Jersey. And we found out the limits of his Wi-Fi won't let us quite get all the way to his house, but he's got plenty of stuff to talk about and show us in his shop. But down in Dallas, he had his portable jewel box, which he was running 5 mini houses or mini homes at one time the whole weekend, and they didn't shut down for a second while he was running it. But you were saying with the subsidies, it's less than the 39,000 we were talking about.
Yeah, the base jewel box is $34,000. It qualifies for the 40% ITC credit, which is an investment tax credit. And in a lot of places, there are additional subsidies. Like federally, you get the 1-year depreciation on it, where you can write the whole thing off in 1 year. You also get the grid storage credits where available. And some states like New Jersey have fuel cell credits as well. So you could cut the cost of a jewel box almost 50% with all the subsidies that are available for it.
And how much PV goes with a system like that?
2 kilowatts come with the base system, but it can be expanded up to 100.
Okay. And you said 2 kilowatts is pretty good for the average home. Do you normally go up to 3 or something just to have a little buffer, or does it depend on where you live and how much sunshine you get and things like that?
Depends on where you live. I just came back from New York City yesterday. We're going to be putting a jewel box on a row home in right in the heart of the city in Brooklyn. And you imagine how tight things are there. So we're able to put the jewel box right on the roof.
Wow.
So
and how much PV were they using?
We're
2?
putting 5 kilowatts with that job.
Yeah, because their actual production with all the high rises around them and stuff is a lot
Correct.
less. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to lose about 20% to the high rises.
Okay.
But even still, 5 kilowatts, we're going to do a three-story, 3-apartment building.
Okay. And I noticed when I looked in your unit down in Dallas, you had the capacitors in there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about what that does for you in the vehicles and in the jewel box.
The ultracapacitors are basically a battery. So an ultracapacitor stores energy just like a battery. But unlike a battery, it's unaffected by temperature. So whether it's cold or hot makes no difference to the ultracapacitor. The other thing it's not affected is by discharge cycle. So if you pull the power out of an ultracapacitor, you can power point track it all the way to 0. If you have a 12-volt battery, once you get beyond 10.3 volts, it's dead. Mm-hmm. All that voltage underneath there is unusable without killing the battery. So the ultracapacitor, you're able to use all of the energy in the ultracap. The other thing that's significant is that you can pull out 2,000 amps in 1 second. So let me grab an ultracapacitor so you can see what they look like.
And so for the viewers, just to give you an idea, most of the circuits in your house are either 15 or 20 amp. And if you have a really big, some kind of cosmic piece of equipment in there, you might have 50 amps. He's talking 2,000 amps. He can ramp up a surge with that one piece of equipment right there.
The one I'm holding right now will start 16 dump trucks all at the same time.
So incredible piece of equipment. What does something like that run?
This is about $1,000 I'm holding in my hand.
Okay, so it's expensive as a battery, but it's
Well-
definitely got a capability that comes in handy when you're trying to do this.
The other thing is, most batteries get about 300 cycles, and they get less and less energy with each cycle. An ultracapacitor is good for 1.8 thousand cycles, 18,000 cycles. So you're looking at this thing outliving you. So you'll be able to put it in 3 vehicles. It'll always have a value, and you get the same amount of energy out each time.
Is that the technology that they're using in all those little miniature jump start units that you can buy in the store now for 40 or 50 bucks? And
Yeah, they're taking a lithium ion cobalt battery and they're running it through an ultracap.
Oh, okay, I get it. All right. So what else is about the Jewel Box and that unit is? When are those things going to start showing up all over the place?
Well, right now we're in the process of doing a public company, and we're going to be able to mass produce these things. So we're looking at producing them in Texas, and part of the public company's mission will be to finance these things. So we're going to do the same business plan as Elon Musk, where we're basically going to be leasing out the units, from the offset of the electric bill.
So you'll probably need some company in Hawaii to represent your stuff, right?
Probably, yeah. We're going to be looking for companies in Australia, Hawaii, California, Caribbean.
Okay.
Any place the energy's high.
Okay, so everybody out there, just if you got a company you want to pick up on this stuff, we'll get you in touch with Mike and he can tell you all about it. Speaking of which, you don't just do this stuff. You do all kinds of. What are you doing in Malibu next week?
In Malibu, we're basically converting sewage into energy and recovering 100% of the water.
So it'll be like water that you'll use for agriculture or something?
We could also process it one more step into drinking water.
Okay.
But we have a process by where we kill all of the biologics and then we separate it out according to mass. So you're able to separate the solids from the liquids, kill all of the biologics, and then breed hydrogen from the solids.
Outstanding. So
Yep.
you're still hydrogen-centric, even in the wastewater treating?
Well, 80% of every molecule in the universe is hydrogen. It's a little hard not to.
There you go.
Any life that we associate with is all based on water.
Yep.
Water and hydrogen go hand in hand.
Wow, this has been an amazing, amazing experience, and you answered a lot of questions that I still had left over from Texas. So I appreciate you taking us through your shop, showing us all your things. And I'm going to leave the last minute or two to you to just talk about whatever you think is important to share with the rest of the world. As you know, this program streams live every Friday at noon Hawaii time, but it's also on YouTube for posterity. So what do you got for the rest of the world to tell them that hydrogen's the way of the future?
Well, it's not the way of the future. It's the way right now. I mean, Toyota has put down its foot, put its hand up and said, we're doing this. You told us we were going to lose our shirts, with the Prius. And now we're the world's largest automaker. In this day, you've got to take risk. If you don't take risk, there is no reward. If you don't go fishing and throw the chum out and put the line in, you're not going to expect to get a fish. We got to go back to catching fish, not eating fish. America used to be great on what we built and the innovation that we took. That's why we won all the world wars, is because of our innovation. We have the chance to be great again and do the innovation again. And we just can't keep giving technology we develop out to the Chinese or the Koreans to save a couple of pennies. It doesn't make any sense. You want to save jobs, you want to save the planet. Hydrogen is the only way. It was the answer back in the 70s, and it's still the answer today. I'm living proof. I've been 10 years off grid here, and now I've packaged my entire hydrogen house on a pallet. You can carry hydrogen in an airplane. You have the largest automakers in the world now doing a hydrogen economy. The world is waking up that this is the only way to go. I mean, right now, being an island of Hawaii, you've got to realize that we're releasing trillions of tons of methane stored under the ice caps and the permafrost into the atmosphere. Every action, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. There's going to be islands going underwater. We've got to turn this ship around, and we got to use terrestrial power, which is stuff that comes from the sun, the wind, the waves. We have technology right now. Do we have the will to use it? We better.
One advantage we have here in Hawaii is we're not a natural gas or oil state, and we have plenty of sunshine and plenty of wind, and we even have ocean thermal and geothermal and about every other kind of renewable you can think of. So we have every advantage here to make this leap to hydrogen right now, just like Mike's talking about. And I think he's given all of us some good advice, especially here in Hawaii.
Well, Stan, since they've cut the net metering, my system is even more important because now you can store your own energy independent of the grid.
Including the energy for your vehicles.
Including energy. I power everything here. Cooking gas, heating gas, fuel for the vehicles is all solar hydrogen that I make during the spring and I use during the winter.
Okay, Mike, well, you got to make a vacation or something out here in Hawaii so we can have you on the show live and talk more about what you're doing. But thanks for being on the show today, all the way from New Jersey, and working a little bit late tonight in the shop there. We appreciate all of your insight and your enthusiasm, and we'll definitely have you back on the show here.
Yeah, I'm going to do my second most favorite thing, which is playing with grandkids.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Take care.
All right. Aloha, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us down the Energy Man. We'll see you next week, Friday. Aloha.